Greeting you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. We're back with Q&A. I got carried away yesterday. Started talking about the law of one, and I may talk about that again. We'll see, but I'm going to stay focused on the questions regarding tensor rings and the technology. Okay. It's a blessing to have you here, family. If you're tuning into this video, I'm about to go for a run in an hour, so I have time to tap in here. So let's get into it. Start with some I am affirmations. Drop into the heart space. Om. I am the governing presence acting here. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the bringer of light by being as I am. I am all health, all wealth, God's gift, abundance itself. Peace, 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 peace. Okay, we're going to continue from the original question from yesterday, and what are tensor rings and how do they work? So we talked about the copper wire, we talked about the clockwise twist, we talked about cutting them to the specific sacred measurement called a cubit, which is, measurements that create a harmonic energy field that is beneficial to life and is coherent and structured. There's a lot of ways that, depending on the consciousness of the person who's speaking about it, you're going to describe it in a different way, whether it's more metaphysical or scientific, using these scientific terms. For me, I like the simplicity of it. It's like we're making the ring to create the column or the pillar of light or the energy field that is basically beneficial, positive energy. We could get into all of these words, which is cool, but at the end of the day, a lot of these words are pointing to the same thing. It's like God, right? So I am is a name for God, or people call God Shiva or Allah. Some people call God the Christ. There's so many names for the same thing, and it's not necessary to get caught up in the words. I feel to go beyond the words into the feeling of how this makes you feel, and it's very supportive. I was talking about the connection to spirituality and ascension, and to dive in a little bit deeper is that by creating this energy field, we have a support system, we have a container, we have a friend, we have a lover that is by our side as we trek this ascension downward into the heart center and activate our green ray and start to live from our heart. instead of living from our mind or our ego structure. So basically, having this infinite source of energy, the divine intelligence of our divinely designed vessel as a fractal of Creator, as a manifestation of the One. We were made perfect in God's image, right? Or in the Creator's image. So the vital life force that we are is so powerful. And we don't need these tools. I repeat, we do not need these tools to get well, because wellness already exists here and now. Wellness is consciousness, wholeness. So if we were to take a breath, one could immediately feel well. And wellness is it's a constant. It's a accessible space where we always have access to if we choose to go there. Wellness is being surrendered to the flow of life. So these tensor rings work by applying all of these principles, the copper wire, or depending on what metal we're utilizing. And I want to say the elegant simplicity. Slim talked about how his scientific buddies were like, it's so elegantly simple, they can't believe it. And the simplicity of life, of going with the flow of life, it's so simple. When you follow the heart, when you're in the heart space, you know what next action to do, what right action to do next, because you're following your heart's guidance, your intuition. You're not following a false identity anymore of, a memory of who you are based on the past, and but actually coming into this moment and feeling the serenity of the eternal now. So, having this being, this divine partner with us throughout the day, whether, we start our day, right? We wake up with a ring on your heart, before you get up, go and feel and plan out your day of who you want to be, how you want to serve, find something that sparks you and overrides that negative voice in your head, and have one of these with you to remind you of who you are, that you are the Alpha and the Omega, you are the circle, you are infinity, and you are the vital life force that is powerful, is in harmony with creation, creates crystalline waters. So you don't need these rings, as I said, but to have them in your life, like if you go to the Moona's Magica website and you go to the gallery section, you can see the way that I've been utilizing the technology, whether it's buying a juice at the store and charging your juice. It's awareness, it's consciousness that you're bringing into your life because you love yourself. Because you are loved, because you care for yourself. And by recognizing of when you buy that juice, that before you drink that juice, you thank that juice, and you put a ring around the juice, and you let this cosmic energy charge your juice. This is one way, you know? So I was talking about when you wake up, right? You wake up, have this on your heart, and sit with it. Bring this to bed. Tensor rings work by constantly beaming you, or beaming anything, all is spirit, all is life, simply beaming anything. You know, I can put this around the camera and add this quantum energy into the camera, and it's the tool to assist you in realizing that you are the quantum. And when you reach that level of consciousness, that state of oneness with all creation in loving relationship with everything, you will still want these around. Because if I'm, going out for a walk, I could communicate with my water in the kitchen, but I would have to have my attention and my energy, my consciousness directed to the water, or potentially, now I'm just getting the code, I could talk to the water and be like, hey, I'm going out, I'm sending you love, and I'm going to program you to, while I'm going out, I want you to be structuring. Because we are the element of consciousness, and we have all the power, especially when we know where that power is coming from and we direct it with the I am. We can do anything, it's like we can manifest anything onto this earth. It starts with a thought. So we're given this creative power made in Creator's image as a creator to think and to feel. And this is the creative power. And we're also given the gift to send forth love. You can visualize somebody and actually send them your life force. And this is how healings happen. This is what we call distant healing, because quantum entanglement, right? Entanglement is simply the recognition that we're all one. We're all made from the same source. And what I think right now is affecting my brother and my sister in Australia. And what they're doing is affecting me, because we are one. Okay, so what are tensor rings and how do they work? I feel like I've described pretty well. I'm really trying to open the door for you to realize what this technology really is, and that the narrative, the story, the truth, the real world of love, of abundance, is what's actually unfolding, is the reality. Is when you recognize that you are everything, how could you be lacking anything? So we're going through the process right now of coming in this plane, in this density right now, bringing it to the law of one again, is that we're moving into the fourth density. which is the correlated with the green ray energy. Eternal thanks to Brother Aaron Abke for being a great teacher for me. And what I'm attempting here or flowing with is that I'm now bringing the technology and relating it to spirituality and ascension, and how this technology, aka infinity, free source of energy, infinite source of vital life force, a harmonizing of electromagnetic frequencies, aka the harmonizing of the ego mind identity, the EMI, electromagnetic interference, with the free energy, with the harmonizing life force, we can effortlessly harmonize the electromagnetic interference, as what one of the rings will do and what the harmonizers will do. It's alchemy, it's transmutation. We are moving into the fourth density, what we're calling New Earth or Heaven on Earth, as one of the fractals of planets or planes of existence in this infinite universe. This Earth is now going through the holy shift, where manipulation, domination, control, and enslavement, aka the aspects of the negative polarity, is now being revealed onto the Earth, and that in fact we don't accept this anymore. And it starts with not accepting it in yourself. And if we want to be the change on this earth, the powerful message of Gandhi, be the change you wish to see. Or the powerful message of the Master Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. How do we become self-realized? Well, we're already self-realized. You have to find out, what is your real self? Are you abundant or are you lacking? Are you love or are you fear? Are you non-dual in nature or are you dual? Ultimately both, but it's when nirvana and samsara become one and the ideas completely dissolve and the self shines forth. Awareness, consciousness, happiness, Sat Chit Ananda will shine forth. I'm not talking about tensor rings right now, and I am so glad, because I'm way more than simply the ring. I've made thousands and thousands of these, and they are very dear to me. I've made hundreds and hundreds of these, and they are dear to me. We've got these charging plates now, which, being a multi-dimensional soul, there's a lot of things I like to do, like make music and make art and sit under a tree, just be happy. I also love making this tech, which is clearly why I'm here and why I've created the ebook, this YouTube I'm going forth with. But yeah, I'm just making sure that the message that I'm sharing here is the message of love, is the message of unity. And that is what is most important. And that when we sink into that space, we start to live in harmony together. And these rings and all these free energy devices that have been known for a while but have been suppressed from the public eye, because these forces of the negative do not want the truth to be revealed. And I am one aspect of bringing this message back into the consciousness of humanity, and that this is a way of service, I feel, in my heart. Question 2. What are the primary benefits of using tensor rings? So, first of all, there'll be a stress reduction. The energy field will interact with ourself and relieve any stress, give that supportive energy. And remember that this energy is intelligent. This is the lost qubit. This is the 177 megahertz. I feel like it's a blue light. I do not have access in this now to clairvoyant abilities, but if you're clairvoyant, I don't know, maybe let me know what you see within the energy field of the lost qubit. I more feel. I'm a feeler. So there'll be that immediate stress reduction. Just make sure. Okay, good. And interacting with us in a way that sometimes we may not even know, right? Like this is an antenna. So we could also call these like antennas, because when we cut that qubit length and put it in the ring, it's like all of the frequencies are existing here now. Everything is existing here now, and we anchor in this frequency based on the measurement, the lost qubit being the 23.49 inches. And in the ebook, there's all this information. So I'm going to actually revisit the book. I wrote it a few months ago, and we've sold a decent amount, a perfect amount of copies. And I'm going to refine it even more just based on feedback, and, as consciousness is always refining. But a good way to start, I feel, if you receive a ring is you start at water, right? Like, it's a good question to ask. What is your relationship with water? Water is a divine teacher. And the way that I've worked with water in the past few years has been, magical. Of going the distance, learning about Dr. Emoto and praying to water and how the crystals change and the geometry of the crystal based on the word love or fear. I've put up a video about that, about water. It's down a bit. Orgone energy and water, and structuring water with our mind. As I said, that, we are the tool. We are the instrument, and that this is an instrument of an instrument. It's a fractal of a fractal, which is also part of the whole, right? So the benefits that people have from utilizing tensor rings is, not even talking about the metaphysical right now, because that's a whole nother subject of just having this on you and starting to connect with it in a way that it's a teacher, because it makes you inquire, it makes you contemplate and makes you think like, wow, like there's really an harmonic energy field that exists within this. Like that's incredible, and it gets you to think about reality, and not even talking about that, talking about the actual applications and benefits is I mean, there's an infinite amount, really, depending on how you use it. But I'll start simple. So the water, right? We can structure our water, and structured water is living water. And if you also vortex your water and pray to your water in combination with the rings, it's extremely powerful. So ask about what is your connection with the water. Start looking around your home. The Wi-Fi router, if you live in a home with Wi-Fi, as most of us do, put a ring around your router. Bring the consciousness of harmony into your home by putting a ring around your Wi-Fi. If you're on electronics a lot during the day, put some bracelets on, or have a ring on your head, and have that pillar going down your energy centers. Basically, the benefits, plants love this technology. We've actually done some tests and experiments where we've put the same plants, the same seedlings, one in a ring, one out of a ring, and the one that was in the ring it's getting more vital life force, right? So it's being amplified, so it's growing faster. The fruit, right, that comes off plants, or if you're in your garden, electroculture, right? So if you put one of these rings in the garden, it will illuminate the soil, and it will heal the soil. It will bring light to the soil, and extremely beneficial to the garden. If you're in your fridge, speaking about our home, basically, you can blast your food before you eat. You can scan your food and preserve your food. Transmuting negative energy. So anything within the body or the etheric body, we have different bodies, and each ring focuses on a different potentiality of healing based on the frequency and the intelligence coming off of the ring, based on the cubit we cut it to. So one of the main ways that I've utilized these are in healing, in lying down and putting rings over my energy centers, or over a space that is asking for illumination, asking for that extra help. There's life force coming out of our palm chakras, right? And we can, when we're in pain, we hold ourselves. This is always holding you. This is holding you. This is supporting you. This is illuminating you. So the primary benefits of tensor rings, that's what I'll share for now. I mean, I could continue on. I'll go to the next question. So what materials are typically used? We typically use the copper wire, depending on what metal you want to work with. Copper is the easiest to start with. There's silver, which is a little more finessey, a little more elven to work with. More expensive, silver wire is. So copper is a good start. And the material, so really it's quite simple. We got our copper wire, we have our drill that we hook, we get our pliers, a pair of pliers, a pair of snips. This is in all the tutorial videos. And we have our information on the qubits. We have the intention, we have the open heart in order to bring harmony and to heal. We have our brazing rods, our torch, and a few other tools. You know, we need our digital caliper to get that exact measurement, or a ruler, and then we go for it, and we twist up our wire, cut it to the qubit, put it in the ring shape or the coil shape or the harmonizer shape, and voila. Why certain ones? Okay, so can tensor rings? Yes. Can tensor rings be used in combinations with other energy tools like pyramids or crystals? That's a great question. Indeed, the rings work in synergy with the pyramid. So the orgone energy, we have the orgone pyramids, or I've created these plates, and these plates have the orgone energy with the tensor tech and the orgonite, I feel, are in synergy with each other. So this has crystals, tensor tech, and orgonite. This absolutely creates a synergy. It's just obvious. And with crystals, yes, like I was given a crystal yesterday from a brother to wrap in combination with the tech. And yeah, it's amazing. The tensor tech will actually charge crystals. That's a question I get a lot, is how do I, does this need to be charged? No, this is the charge. This is the consciousness charging the crystals. What is the science behind tensor rings? Are they based on proven principles or more on experimental results? Okay, well, experimenting, you want to do that yourself. There's ways to experiment. You can check out the video, the freeze test, where you can see the tornado in the frozen water. I mean, the science is science. What is science? What is real science? I feel like you have to experience real science. But the science is all there with the technology. The funny thing is because people don't see the energy, they're like, kind of, I was the same at one point, where when I was first given the ring, I didn't know that the energy field was existing within the ring. Until you look into it, until you do the research, and there's a lot of doubt with the way that we've been programmed. You know, if we can't see it, you can't believe it. But that's the paradigm of that, is actually insanity. So there's a lot of scientific research. I mean, once again, Brother Slim Spurling was actually mentioned in a podcast recently, on the Aubrey Marcus podcast. And that's really big because I've never heard Slim's name be utilized. 1 second. So this is coming back into the collective, and yeah, you can go on. Twisted Sage is a trailblazer. He has a great article. If you type in Twisted Sage, he wrote an amazing article on the science and the spirituality of tensor tech. But it's, once again, it's simple. Slim was working with great scientists, amazing scientists, Hans Becker, which actually, I believe the lost qubit is also called the Becker qubit. So I would suggest looking into Slim Spurling. I mean, everything that I'm sharing, I'm adding my tinge, my color, my experience of life into the relationship with tensor tech. But Slim is the OG, and everything that I've said is rooted in what Slim has shared and what I've studied from Slim and studied the books. Really, everything that is possible with tensor tech I've studied. Can tensor rings be used to affect physical or emotional healing? This is a great question. So the lost qubit, Slim was going around teaching workshops around the earth, and I believe he did this for a while, for years, and he noticed that the energy fields of each qubit, he mainly worked with the sacred and lost qubit, the 144 megahertz, and the lost, the 177. And he realized that doing this actual work, or play, we could say, he noticed that the sacred qubit had a physical, it was more of like harmonizing the physical aspects of life, and the lost qubit harmonizing the emotional and the etheric aspects of life. And actually, interestingly, that they are in resonance with each other, and that when we speak about resonance, it's like two people singing together, and it's like it's coming and it's singing and it's moving together and it's in flow. And that's what happens when you combine these certain qubits, and they actually power each other up. And that is very interesting, that the power of the individual ring or being, and then the power of coming together and merging together in love. Wow, that is powerful. I've had many testimonials over the years. I've put many testimonials on the website, or you can go on the Etsy and look through. And personal testimonials, I'll share one, which is coming to mind right now. So there's a local juice spot in Toronto where I live. It's called Ezra's Market. And Ezra, her name is Moona. And it was a synchronistic event of how I got rings in her shop. Apparently this man walked in one day and saw a ring and was like, oh, I need this. Apparently he had this big like wart or like some ball on his hand. He grabbed a bracelet and he said he put it on overnight, and this thing disappeared by 90 or 95% overnight. That, and rapid healing. So the rings will have a rapid healing effect because you're getting blasted with this vital life force. So Moona texted me and was like, I just got this testimonial. That was really interesting. So we could talk about that as the physical healing. Emotional healing, I would say the lost qubit is one of the more powerful qubits, because a lot of our suffering comes from emotional pain, emotion being energy moving, right? And so how can we be in control but also honor our feelings? The Lost Cubit focuses on the emotional. To feel the effects of a tensor ring, it's different for everybody. It's a subtle energy field. So I've had a sister, put this on her head and immediately feel like, whoa, this is intense. So there'll be different responses based on where the person is at. What is the difference between a regular... Okay, so yeah, so if we can talk about the single twist and the double twist. This is double twisted. It's double the copper. Apparently the energy field kind of seeps out a bit with the double twist. With the single twist, it's like stays contained within the column. I can't see the energy, so I'm not sure, but I believe I heard that somewhere. How do you determine the right size of a tensor ring for a specific person or purpose? I mean, so first of all, if you know what somebody is dealing with, or you can have a general heart-centered intention when you're twisting your copper, and the copper is a crystal, right? So you can program crystals. So if we're twisting our crystalline wire, then we can either just say like love, like who's ever going to receive this, I wish for divine intelligence to give them the healing that they need and the support that they need. So you can intend it like that. The rings work extremely well with intention, so we can power them up with intention. And the size is simply the circumference or the size of the energy field. So if we make this is the 23.49, that's how much we have that in space. That's what we have to utilize, right? If we make a pendant size, then that is the size that we have. We can fraction these down, and I'll do a video. I was asked to do a video about this, and or we can fraction them up, and we can create like large rings or aura rings. So depending on your application, then you can choose your size. I mean, it's really nice to just have a pendant on, and you kind of can forget about it, and it's still giving you that your body, your being is still utilizing that for healing. And we'll do one more question for today. Can tensor rings be used for environmental purposes, like reducing electromagnetic pollution? This is a big topic. I'll talk about Slim here, the Harmonizer. So we are in a field of energy. Life is a field of energy, and we're surrounded by all these different energies. We can talk about the whether it's the Wi-Fi or the computer or the camera. There's all these interfering energies, and I mean, all is of nature, right? But there's also like man-made things that aren't in resonance with nature or weren't created with the knowing that we're all affected by energy in a positive or a negative way, anti-life or a detrimental way or a beneficial way. So there's constructive harmonics and there's destructive harmonics. So with the harmonizer or the rings or any of the technology, specifically speaking on the harmonizer, this is what Slim was talking about when he was teaching workshops. And we basically override with the destructive harmonics with constructive harmonics. So if we grab the environmental clearing tape, this was the frequencies of water that Slim utilized. And now we play this through the harmonizer, and it's doubling the field, doubling the range, and now projecting out into the field these frequencies that will override any electromagnetic pollution, or electrosmog, we could call it. It's called. So Slim originally made these to clean air pollution, which he was very successful in doing. I said in the last Q&A I think I talked about it, if not the Denver, Colorado, the Denver experiment. It's in Slim Spurling's universe, the book. And there's also, if you go on YouTube and type in Slim Spurling New Realities interview, he talks about in that. He also talks about how he dropped and reduced the crime rate, which is interesting that in group meditations, that is what happens, the Maharishi effect. So if you do have a harmonizer or acquire one, I will send you the tape. I'm trying to get the MP3 file again, but if you have Apple Music or Spotify, you can find it there. And yeah, so that's one of the main aspects of this, is for environmental purposes, to also the chemtrails that are sprayed in our skies, which will soon end. And these tools have a big part of the return to harmony on Earth, collectively. It's going to take a little bit, but we're getting there. Yeah, so for environmental purposes, the harmonizer is the air pollution cleaner. So reducing electromagnetic pollution, exactly. That's what we're doing. We're reducing it. We're up against a lot. So the more of us that have these tools and basically grid the earth with them, we'll be able to see the effects. And it's like with Wilhelm Reich's Cloudbusters. Those are powerful as well. So these harmonizers are working on the same principles of this cosmic energy. And lastly, the clearing of negative energy in spaces. So you can do this yourself. People sage their home. You can get a harmonizer for your home to clear your home of. I'm not even talking about the physical realm, but there's also the unseen, which we're at all around us. That there's an unseen realm of energies or entities, and that these tools will clear out. There's of negative energy because they're based in harmony and healing and having a clean living space. So if you do have a harmonizer, I usually say put it in the center of your space, and it will be very beneficial to have these tools in your home. I think we'll end there for today. This was good. I'm happy that we tuned in. The last thing I'll share is there was a story Slim shared about an energy worker who basically got debilitated from taking on other people's energy, and she put a little personal harmonizer, just a little mini one, and she started to wear it, and she was back to health. And it greatly affected her because it created that field of energy that protected her from negative energies or entities, however you want to say it, and transmuted the negative energies that are very distorted and dense into light, and allowed that energy flow to happen. I'm leaving you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. I hope that I was able to, get you juiced up and just spark conversation with each other and return back into the heart. Enjoy this now and see you soon.